Hello and welcome to For All Who Love the Game. I'm Max Bechtoldt, and today, for our first episode, we have on a special guest, Derrick Ow, to talk about Pebble Beach and the 2023 U.S. Women's Open. Enjoy. Okay, so now we are here with Derrick Ow. Derrick, how are you doing today?
Well, Max, it's been a minute, my friend. I know last time we saw each other, I think was my final semester, so San Jose State, so December 2021. But it's always good talking golf with you and sports, but also women's golf, especially. It's great to see the event that we're going to be talking about next week. It's big. I mean, I don't like ranking the women's majors because I think they're all iconic and they all have their special mystique and obviously in their own way. But Pebble Beach, U.S. Women's Open, this is historic. This is iconic, and no matter who wins, whether it's the world number one Jin Young Ko or like the 1,000th player in the world, it's going to be historic, and somebody's going to get immortalized along with Tiger, Tom Kite, Tom Watson, Jack, Gary Woodland. I'll throw in a live golfer, Graham McDowell there, Lanny Watkins too. So it's going to be incredible.
So let's start off just with Pebble Beach. What do you think makes Pebble Beach so special? And if you want to fold in some of your experiences with Pebble Beach, please do so.
Yeah, Max, you're gonna get me crying already. So I grew up. I currently live in Salinas, California, salad bowl of the world. Of course, home of John Steinbeck, Alan Shipnuck, who's an amazing writer, has the Fire Pit Collective, longtime former writer for Golf Magazine, and we grew up in the same city. And I was part of the First Tee program, which is an amazing, youth golf organization, that many of you in the world of golf know, and many of you outside the world of golf know. So our chapter is located in Salinas, and we're about, I would say, a 45 minute drive away from Pebble Beach. And that area, of course, we can include all the other courses, Cypress and Spyglass Hill, Poppy Hills, of course. But yeah, I always grew up going to the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, grew up seeing all the celebrities and, obviously when Tiger would play, I think last time he played was 2012. So those were always special moments to have. I would always go there, and each time that you go back and you enter through those, I wouldn't say gates, but where the security stops you at, it takes you back to my childhood for me and growing up in this area. And I think as you get older, you take this area for granted. And I know you visited here so many times, and so many of my friends from whether they're from the Bay Area or out of state get, their eyes get like wide as Mickey Mouse's eyes. They look around. Um, so I'm very fortunate and blessed that I live, just 45 minutes away, and being able to not only go to these events but also go to the U.S. Open, and had an internship with the First Tee during the 2019 edition. So it's an incredible experience, and it's special for me to be able to cover the Women's Open and cover my first golf major, and to have it happen at my backyard, kind of a home game for me, I guess. And I don't have to worry about booking flights and PSA pre-checks. It's just okay, let's just go to my work, take the car, go to Pebble. So it's an incredible feeling. And I think anybody that goes to the tournament next week, or if you go any week during the year, you're going to get that feeling as well.
And I think Pebble is a really tough place to almost describe to people who haven't been there. Because as great as you think Pebble is, as great as you've always heard it is, as great as it looks on TV, it's better in person. I mean, this course is just gorgeous. Everybody thinks of those water holes. The holes on the inland side are great as well. It's still a great golf course, even without the ocean. And I think that's what makes Pebble so, so special. I, kind of come at it from a different angle. I'm not from the Bay Area. But I went and played Pebble for the first time, I think 6 years ago, maybe. That was
Mhm.
actually my first time in the Bay Area. And, by some weird domino effect, one thing led to another of me living there briefly. But I've played Pebble personally 3 times, lives up to the hype every single time. It's just the mecca of public golf in America. You can't play someplace better. You can't play someplace more iconic. We all dream of that Augusta round, but it's just not
Yeah.
possible. But Pebble Beach
Yeah.
is. Pebble Beach is almost as iconic, almost as great. It still ranks top 10 on every website for, American courses, public or private. So having the opportunity to play it, and you have to shell out a little money to play it, but it's a great place to host this U.S. Women's Open because it has hosted all those U.S. Women's Opens, and it has so many great champions, such great history. So like just kind of rolling into the next point of going in deeper, what does it mean specifically for the LPGA and the women's game to be hosting this at Pebble Beach?
Well, I know you mentioned you shamelessly plugged that you played there 3 times. So I've gotten to play there 3 times, and my boss is back at my job. They think I'm rich. They think I roll in with the Benjamins. So I've gotten to play there for free 99. Yeah, free. A lot of hard work went into it the first 2 times. I played in the First Tee Open, well now known as the Pure Insurance Championship on the PJ Tour Champions, which is an incredible experience. Going up from a first tee participant to volunteering at the event to playing in 2015 was incredible. Even some participants from First Tee of Fresno asked me for my autograph, so that's something that I always take for granted, and it's still stuck in my mind. Still keep contact with people that I played with, other participants from around the country. And then the last time, of course, was U.S. Women's Open Media Day, where I got to play with our sports director at my station, Maxwell Glenn, and then Gary McCormick, who's a freelance golf journalist, and also Pete, who runs amateurgolf.com. So that was a fun foursome. And, the group in front of me, it was Michelle Wee West, who's playing in her final major next week, and then no laying up. So that was kind of hard to follow up. They no laying up had their crew, had the drones flying over. So I think they'll probably release the video next week, probably for a little preview there. But yeah, those 3 times were amazing, and hopefully I could get my dad on before he retires, just to get him on, and hopefully I can work my way around with some connections. But going back to your question, what does this mean for the LPGA Tour? I think it means that I know it's cliche for like women's sports, to use the terms, they've arrived, but it's I think validation, to finally see a big time championship come to one of the meccas of golf. And I know the AIG Women's Open, they've been to St. Andrews many a times. Lorena Ochoa has won there, Stacey Lewis has won there. But to me, there's 3 places I think for any golfer, pro, amateur, that you want to compete or play at: St. Andrews, Augusta National, and Pebble Beach. And for the LPGA, for the USGA to finally come to Pebble is really, really awesome. And I know they were at the Olympic Club a couple years ago with Yuka Sasso winning. I know Lexi fans are still heartbroken over that wild finish. And then obviously in 2016 at Cordoval, which is in San Martin, kind of Gilroy area. Anna Norquist fans, kind of, I know, still over that little blade of sand right here moving. Brittany Lane won that one. So, but for this event to come to Pebble, for all the historic lineage, it's amazing. Of course, increase in prize money, prime time slot, which I'm most excited about. I love primetime golf. Hopefully, I don't start it late than the men's, because I know Wyndham Clark and Ricky were complaining about a 3:30 start. We do it all the time, but I mean, it's incredible feeling, and give kudos to the USGA, LPGA. I know Mike wants the new president there, so it's an awesome first time that's going to be here, and it's an awesome venture that the USGA is doing. And of course, they're going to come back within the next couple of decades too. So this is an incredible feeling. No matter who wins, like I said in the beginning, no matter who lifts that trophy, it's immortalization. It's going to be history.
And you mentioned those 3 golf courses, and those are the 3 courses that are must-watch TV. Also, for those at home, when I always think about, I watch the PGA Tour, certainly Saturdays and Sundays on a regular basis, but when it's at Pebble, it's Thursday through Sunday appointment viewing. And so I think that this will be kind of a similar thing. If you're a golf fan, you want to watch tournaments at Pebble. And so, I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say this will be easily the best rated tournament of the year overall. But you look at the TV time: 6 hours of coverage on Sunday, 5 hours on Thursday through Saturday, 3 hours of prime time on network television. This is a big deal for the LPGA. This is kind of their moment, like where WNBA got ABC time or TV times. Now, you get 3 hours on NBC 2 days in a row. It's going to be, hugely hyped up. And so I just expect great ratings and, just kind of the 1-2 punch of, because next year the AIG Women's Open is at St. Andrews. So that kind of 1-2 punch of getting Pebble Beach and St. Andrews back to back years. I know players are really excited about it. I think a lot of fans will get excited about it. And we're kind of we're going to get to her in a minute, but kind of riding the wave that Rose Zhang is kind of setting for the general golf world to get Pebble Beach kind of in her backyard of certainly where she went to school. She won there before. She holds the course record there. Like, it just feels like it's all just coming together at the perfect time. So now let's kind of go in our last, Pebble specific question before we get into the actual tournament. And this was something I'm curious about because I think everybody would have a different answer to this. But 3 favorite holes at Pebble Beach. But I put the little caveat: only one of 6 through 8 or 17 and 18 is allowed. I think those are the kind of standards. I think everybody would say 6 through 8 or 17 and 18 are their favorite holes at Pebble. They're the most iconic. They're the ones you see on TV the most. So I want to kind of take those away. So what's your favorite hole overall? You can do 6 through 8 or 17 and 18, and then your next 2 favorite holes outside of those.
Ooh, you got me in a pickle, Max. I would say, ooh, that's a tough one. I would go 7 because I when I played there, competitively, I parred it twice. So yeah, 7 and obviously historic hole. Tom Kite loves that hole. 92 U.S. Open. We'll see how windy it is, come next week. But yeah, 7's up there.
Will it be a lob wedge or will it be a 6-iron? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I when I played, it was an 8 because it was fog and we had afternoon tee time, so that was intense, and I had like 2 balls in the water. Um, let's see, the other hole that I think is pretty interesting is number 4. I've always kind of liked the design of it. Victor Hovland, I mean, loves that hole. He hit it off the ice plant, in the U.S. Amateur Final against Devin Blaine back in 2018. I think it's just a unique hole, and you can see the beach club right there off the tee. But then as you go up the fairway, you're going to see Stillwater Cove right there. Obviously, you're going to see 6 and 5 just ahead. So 7, or excuse me, 5, 4. Sorry, getting all my holes mixed up. But 4, it's just really picturesque, and I could see a couple maybe might want to test the driver depending on pin location, but I think you'll see a lot of hybrid out there, maybe a long iron for the ladies. And the one that I think people talk about anytime you see the final round on the back 9, it's going to be number 14 with that gnarly green. You can look behind you. I know you're going to be getting some photographs, so that's perfect second, third shot hole. I'm interested in seeing how many of the women will go for it. In 2, it's going to be a unique challenge for sure. And the pin placements, they always find a way out there at Pebble to just make it tough for amateurs and pros alike. So 14 is just always one of those interesting holes. It's a good strategy hole in my opinion, because I think we've always, you and I have been covering golf for a minute, growing up. And I know there's been that debate of the distance, trying to maintain that distance. I think 14 is just a good evidence of that. You can't really, you can bomb it, but then it all depends on what you do with the second and third shot. You could either go short right, or you could be a bunker, have one of the toughest bunker shots of your life. If you get on, the ball's going to roll off. So there's no guarantees you can get out of there with an eagle. So I would say those are my 3 holes that to watch.
Yeah, 14, I always say, is my least favorite hole because I think it's one of the hardest holes in the world, genuinely, that I've ever played. I think it's just partially because that's like when the fatigue is starting to hit in on your round, and like if you got any wind into you, it feels like a 900-yard hole when you're out playing it. My personal favorite, 8 is my favorite hole at Pebble Beach. I think it just calls for so much strategy. How far do you push it on your tee shot? Do you try to get it all the way down to, that cliff that Jordan Spieth almost fell down? And then you still got a super challenging shot in. I mean, that's still a long shot. And so I love hole number 8. I think it's so cool standing on the green, looking back at it. I think it's just such a unique hole. There's nothing else like it I've ever played. I like hole number 1 because it always signifies you're playing Pebble Beach. Like I
Mhm.
love a great like where you just stand on that first tee and you got like the pro shop off to your
Yep.
side and like it just you feel it like your heart's pounding, you're ready to go. It's kind of a standard handshake par first hole, but I still really love that hole. And then 16, I love. Some of those holes get in, don't get a lot of love, even though they get usually the most airtime because that's where they're finishing. But 16, I love for kind of a reason you said with number 7, I believe it was, where you played it
Yep.
well. 16, I almost pulled out for eagle last time I played, so I put it to like that far. Had a nice little
There we
tap
go.
birdie, so that's a hole that kind of holds a special place in my heart right now. So let's move on to the actual tournament. Let's talk about whose game do you think really suits Pebble. Now, this is not your prediction. This is not who's playing the best. It's whose game do you feel most confident on Pebble Beach.
Yeah, I we keep saying she's been number one in the world. I mean, I know she's had she's always been like top 3 players in the world the past what 4 or 5 years. Jin Young Ko. I mean, it's I hate I hate to be cliche. You know what I mean? You
Yep,
want to
Jin
go
Young Ko, I got written too.
there we go. There we go. We thought the same. We think alike, Max. That's why we graduate together. But yeah, U.S. Women's Open, T2, T7, and fourth. Last 3 U.S. Women's Opens. I think like I said, I just want to see kind of more consistency, competing in the big tournaments. I know she finished, had a top 10 at the Chevron, and I like to throw that one away just because it was a new course for everybody, moving the tournament from, the Palm Springs to Houston area. So she fished T20 at Baltusrol. I think, like I said, she can hit fairways, and I think there's some holes where her kind of conservative style where she just hit fairways, kind of focus, making par fives a 3-shot hole. I think that that really fits her. I just like I said, will the putters show up? For anybody, but for especially for her, I think for putter and short game show up, she's going to be dangerous. And I feel like she's kind of been flying under the radar over the past couple majors too, just because she won those 2 in 2019, and we kind of haven't she's kind of been hugging the leaderboard a little
She
bit, but I
she's
mean,
on like kind of a little bit of a like mini Rory, kind of drought.
yeah,
It feels like where it's like no other player you would really hold this against that person.
yeah,
But her not having won a major since 2019, you start to get a little bit like, why doesn't she have another one? Why hasn't
yeah,
she, gotten that third major?
yeah. And what's my limit? I know we got unlimited time here, so do I need 2 more players that I can throw out or what?
Yeah, go ahead. I have 3 written down, so you
Okay,
go for 2 more. So
it's your show, man. I'm just trying to follow the
yep.
rules here. I know this one. She's been hurt, and first off, glad to see her back on the golf course. I mean, she's had some scary injuries. I know one of your favorites, Nelly Corda, world number 2. And as far as Nelly, would I be surprised if she won? Yeah, but I mean, she has the talent. We've seen it many, many times. But I'm just glad to see her healthy. I think there's certain holes where she can just use her length and just bombs away. Especially on 6, give herself kind of an easier second shot, blind tee shot though, but she can hit one of those low riders. I mean, her game is adaptable anywhere. Would love to see her get off to a good start. I mean, if she can get maybe even par round or 1 to 2 to 3 under, I think that will kind of boost her confidence up. But like I said, it's just great to see her back on the golf course. I know she's been having some. Her and her sister have been, they've had some bad injury luck over the past couple of years. So when she's on, when she's on, when she can get it on the roll, she can be dominant, and we'll see if we get that Nelly side of things. And I got one more for you. Um, kind of surprise, kind of my little dark horse pick, and that's Ashley Buhai, who's been playing
Mm-hmm.
really awesome golf. It was between her and Leona McGuire, who both of them have been playing really awesome golf over the past month in the New Jersey swing there. I think with Ashley, like I said, just needs to get off to a good start and just continue to play consistent golf like she has been over the past couple weeks. I know she's had a couple top 5s in there, top 10s. Like I said, if she can get her putter going, which I say that for any golfer, but when she get her putter going, and she has underrated length as well off the tee. I think that's anybody's game there too.
Yeah, it's been such an interesting year on the LPGA. It's been such it usually is with golf, but it's been such a momentum driven year. It feels like every week you're seeing the same names at the top of the leaderboard. And so Ashley Buhai, I totally expect her to continue this streak. She's playing the best golf of her career. I love that pick. I had Jin Young Ko as well. It's a cliche to talk about Pebble Beach and talk about how small the greens are, but she's by far the best iron player in the world to me. Jin Young Ko is. She's her strokes gained approach right now are 1.42. That's second place for anyone who's like played weekly on the LPGA tour this year. So I think her game's in good form. She's won a couple times this year. Like I just think if she kind of continued that, I do think she'll get her first major in almost 5 years. And that's kind of been my pick since for a long time. I've always been like Jin Young Ko's winning at Pebble. I'm gonna just ride the momentum of Ronan Yin, who just won a major last week. I could see her totally going back to back. I just talked about approach shots, ball striking. She hit her last 36 greens at Baltusrol, which is crazy. She's maybe the best ball striker on tour. Like this early. She's only 20 years old, and she might already be the best ball striker on tour. The putter is really, really, really inconsistent there, but putt can be momentum too. If she just keeps her thoughts that she had at Baltusrol, where she putted fine, but when you putt fine and hit the ball like she does, that's okay. I totally can see her going back. Um, and I had to do it with Roseanne. I mean, she's got experience on Pebble Beach. She's won here before in college. She holds the women's course record. She's been playing out of her mind, 2 top 10 finishes in 2 events, including one win. I think that this is how can you go against her to compete? And I do think she'll get a major in the next 2 years. It seems like a really, really good opportunity for it. So I do have Roseng up there in my top 3. So that's why I have right now.
Nice, man. I agree. Obviously with Yin winning last week, I mean, she came out of nowhere. Her name was kind of like bottom tier of the first page of leaderboard, and then she just started making putts. And Baltusrol was just such a difficult, course, iron and putting wise too. So to see her win, and I mean, 20 years old, I wasn't doing that at 20 years old. I know you weren't doing that, so that's just really incredible. And yeah, and obviously before I make my official pick, I got sentimental picks since I interviewed them at Media Day. Mina Harrogate
Oh my
from
gosh,
Pacific.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna go off on this right now. I
go
played
ahead,
with
go ahead.
her. I played with her in a pro am a few
Nice.
months back. Nicest person, like nicest professional
Yeah,
I've ever met.
yeah, yeah. Mina's kind of our hometown favorite. I know the USGA did an article on her, just about her friendship with Sydney Burleson, and I played with Sydney. Sydney Burleson's another legendary junior golfer who now works for the Pebble Beach company, and I played with her younger brothers, all 4 of them. So we had an incredible run there, and then going towards about Mina too is that her family owns a sushi restaurant in Pacific Grove, still do to this day. What an incredible one incredible story, especially her second place finish last year at Pine Needles. If she just had more holes, I think she would have gave Minji Lee more of a run. But man, Mina is just one of those stories where you can just get behind easily, and just very, very happy for her, just to be able to get a chance, to play at this US Women's Open in her backyard, literally 5-10 minute drive to Pebble. So it's a real home game for her. Another one, of course, we all to me, she was the star that she was known as the next Tiger Woods before Roseanne is now Michelle Wee West. How can you not? Her final tournament here, final tournament of her full time playing career. For me, her goal and my goal, I think, just to see her play on the weekend. I think that would be amazing. And cap off. Definitely a roller coaster career, I would say, with all the injuries, all the personal trials, tribulations. Obviously, her shining moment was at Pinehurst in 2014, which US Men's Open will be there next year. it will be incredible to see that see her finish strong, and see her make the cut. I mean, I think that's will be an ultimate win for Michelle.
Real quick on Michelle, do you think pair her with Rose first 2 rounds? Seems like no
I
brainer,
mean that
right?
Yeah, I mean that's must see TV. I mean, I know usually they'll do like Nelly, they'll do the top three in the world. One of these majors, they always do the top three in the world, their last three major winners. Um, I would love to see Michelle,
I believe they
Rose.
did that at PGA Championship. They did the
Yeah,
top three in the world. I believe.
yeah, which I
Yeah,
love.
it was Jin Young,
Which I
Nelly,
love.
and Lydia. I think.
Yeah, yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that for one of them at least. Um, yeah, I think with Michelle and Rose, that would be of course, the Stanford connection. How can you not? So much synergy there. And I would add in maybe a Nelly Corder or Lexi Thompson. I think that would be ratings galore, especially on Thursday and Friday, when people are going to be watching. Especially on Friday when they're going to see who's going to be in attention headed into the weekend. So that would be a really cool way to do it. They can mix and match too. I mean, I would love to Mina Harrogate maybe with,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a Jin Young Ko. I think that would be really cool to see her get a marquee tea time pairing as well. So, or they could do all my three favorites. You can do Lizette Salas, you could do Amina
Mm-hmm.
Harrogate, which would be awesome too. So it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to see kind of how the course sets up. I know it's not going to be as super, to me, I don't think it will be. The media won't be criticizing the setup like they do the men's. Sometimes where depends on the venue. Where we like to see the brown spots and the greens and all that. I don't expect to get that super extreme. But I do expect it to be a really good fair test for the women, and just to be able to see kind of the high fescue rough a little bit too. I'm really curious in seeing how it will set up, and I'll say my winning score for who I think is going to win. So
So let's get into real quick, and this will somewhat give away your winner, but we can kind of go into it a little bit more. Also, let's do a little draft here. Where we'll go at the for the winner of it, it'll be kind of the average placement. Let's draft 5 players. You can go first. We'll do snake style. And then maybe we'll have you on a couple weeks and we'll revisit these picks and see how we did. So I'll give you first pick. Go ahead.
ooh, well, you've been saying her name more than I have. Um, Roseanne. I mean, how can you not? She's just lit the women's golf world and golf world on fire. And we always remember those kind of superstar moments where a player that has all the hype and all the potential in the world, finally gets that moment where it's just them, and it's like a 5 to 10 foot putt. And oh, sorry, that's my new station app, by the way. So you get a free plug in there in your podcast backs. But I would say it's going to be like 97 with Woods at Augusta. It's going to be like 2000, when the Tiger Slam. And I'm not saying Rose is going to win the next, 5, 6 majors. All players eventually will go through struggles, But I feel like this moment right here, history, this is a catapult to superstardom out of this universe for her. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on her. There has been since college, but I think she's dealt with it with just amazing class and grace. Especially with so many young golfers, that get all the potential, like a Rio Ishikawa. They tend to kind of you never hear from them after like their first initial 2 to 3 years. But I think with Rose, she just has that really good humility in her where nothing really phases her too much, at least that we can tell on watching her from a distance. But yeah, I think she has that potential. Like I mentioned, she has the course record. I'm not saying she's going to go Tiger 2000 and win by 15 shots. That's kind of being a little too cocky there. But if she gets into a lead, look out. She's going to, have that accelerator on the Ferrari, and nobody's going to catch her.
Yeah, I she's also got a little bit of a swagger to her too. Like when she
Yeah.
hits a long putt or something, that little smirk comes out. Like, yeah, I know that was awesome. Yeah, I love the Rosang pick. I'm gonna take the other players that I just talked about, then Jin Young Ko and Rowing Yin. Just ball striking, hitting to greens. I think this sets up to them. They both got a lot of momentum. They're number 1 and 2 in the CME standing, so it's not like a bold pick or anything. But I just really like their chances. I think the course sets up well to them. I would be shocked to see them, either one of them, perform poorly this week. So I'm taking Jin Young Ko and Roan again. So now you got picks coming back around the horn.
Okay. Somebody, that I think her, I always compare her to Jordan Spieth because when she came on the scene 20, 15, 14, and I think Max and, the fans out there know who I'm talking about here. They came out and just had a rocket. They took off. And then both of them had some swing issues, and then that kind of led it back to rock bottom. And we've seen her game bounce back really strong, and now it's just about contending in these majors again. Now it's about saying that I'm back, I'm here, and that's going to be Lydia Ko. Lydia Ko, obviously, she won a couple times or three times last year, just no majors. I mean, she won Gainbridge, BMW Ladies, of course, the CME Group Tour Championship in Naples. I would like to see her contend more majors. I mean, we haven't seen it. I mean, she had what, fifth last year at Pine Needles, tied for third at the Evian, tied for seventh at the Women's British Open, missed the cut at Chevron, and like I said, that one was kind of a little weird. I mean, switching courses and stuff, and then tied for 57th at the women's PGA. But I would love to see Lydia Ko, just finally announce that she's back, because I feel like comebacks, with me, you have to win a big tournament to say that you're fully
Mm-hmm.
back, and I think she can do that. Another person that I like that we've seen her contend in majors here, kind of every other major. You know what I mean? That's Amy Yang. I think she just can have that tendency to sneak under a lot of people's radars and just try to just lift the trophy. I would not be surprised to see her, lifting the trophy by the end of the year. I know she hasn't won since 2019, but I mean, she's had a couple close calls. I mean, she finished tied for fourth earlier the year, just a couple shots out of that playoff. So yeah, I think Amy Yang, not be surprised. She's such an accurate driver of the ball. And I think for her, it's just about making tons of birdies, because birdies are to be had there no matter the conditions at Pebble. So I feel like Amy Yang's going to be, wouldn't be surprised to see her sneak in a top 10.
I love that Amy Yang pick. That's such a fun pick. Um,
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take Yuka Sasso next. Think the vibes are
Okay.
going to be good. Returning to the Bay Area. Just placed second, last week. And I thought she was like, they're on like 14, 15, 16. I was like, Yuka Sasso's winning this. She's got the most length anyone left. And I totally thought she was going to take that. Played great last week. Had kind of that sophomore slump last year, but I've started to see some better things with her game. Both her and Patty Tankit kind of having a little bit of bounce back seasons. And I think Yuka Sasso is going to play great next week. Such a pure striker of the golf ball. And when all, parts of her game are just firing on all cylinders, she's borderline unbeatable, in my opinion. So I'm going to take Yuka Sasso. And then I'm also going to take Minjee Lee, reigning champ. Last year was my pick to win, and she paid it off. So I was very excited about that. Yeah, I think there's just good vibes in that family right now. Like Min Woo is playing pretty well, and now
Yep.
I think Minjee getting another major. It would be her third in what, like 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
So she's on a really nice run. She's won majors. It was kind of like when she won at Evian. I thought she was the best player in the world without a major at the time, and it was just like the floodgate being opened, I think. And so I'm going to take Minjee Lee for my next pick. So now it's up to your last pick, correct?
Yeah, last pick, and we're going with Yin winning last week, 20 years old. We're going to go with another 20-year-old, somebody who is going to be a legit superstar, especially internationally wise, because this game's global, and I know the LPGA, they've done a good job of marketing their international stars. I think more than the PGA Tour has done consistently. Athaya Tedekul, did I pronounce that right, Max? I you know I
On the coverage they pronounce it Titakun. So I think that's kind of
Tedekul.
what I've been going with. Ataya Titakun. Yes.
Ataya, yeah, Ataya. I mean, she's just been unreal, over the past year, and she has all the tools, to compete and to win. And both her wins, funny enough, have been playoffs. JTBC Classic. She beat Nana Cortez Matson. She beat Danielle Kane last September in Arkansas. The only thing is just missing is that major, and you're starting to see kind of that consistent form. I mean, she had 3 top 10 finishes last year at the majors, finished tied for fourth at the Chevron, missed the cut at Baltusrol, which was a really, really tough setup there in New Jersey. But I would not be surprised to see Ataya, kind of just swing her way and, play really amazing golf. And I was kind of going back and forth between her and Rose, to me, for my overall pick. And I think that miscut kind of like, maybe I should go with Rose a little bit more. But Ataya, she can be like 3 ahead or 3 back. She has that type of game where nothing really seems to phase her too much, and she's always smiling on the course and stuff like that. So I would not be surprised to see her lift some silverware on Sunday.
Yeah, my one prediction at the beginning of the year was I guaranteed that she will win a major at some point this season. So we're
Yeah.
running through the events. We're almost halfway through them. So she's played well. She played great in Chevron. Up until the last hole.
Mhm.
But I do think that's a great pick. She's just such a superstar, and like this kind of goes into my last pick. I'll tie it in, but we picked Running Yin, who's 20, Rose Zhang, who's 20, Yuka Sasso, who's 22, Ataya Tidkin, who's 20. Like, this is the new wave. Like, we
Yeah.
kind of had a couple of years where Nelly was like the new wave, and there were some kind of other players who were competing really well within that group. Like, think of Jennifer Kupcho, who went to
Yep.
college, so she's a little older, but kind of that Nelly and Kupcho as the new kids on the block. Like, it feels like that's shifting now to this new crew who just are unbelievably talented, like unbelievable to watch out there. My last pick, I'll take. She's 23 years old, very new to the tour, been playing incredible golf over the last like 2 months. And that's a name now I don't think a lot of people know, but it's Ayaka Fudue.
Mm.
She has been on a tear as of late. She's done everything but win. I think she's been in like one of the last 4 groups, like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. It was kind of all building off of her success at Shadow Creek in the match play, where she made it to the
Yeah.
finals and lost. I just think a win has to be coming soon for Fudue. So she would be my last pick. So now let's go into overall champion. How you think it goes? Your basic final prediction.
Well, going back to your last pick, I mean, her and Nasa Hataoka are kind of the future of Japanese women's golf,
Mhm.
and I would not be surprised to see them contend either. I mean, Nasa to me has been
Best
that
player without
conversation.
a major. Best player without a
That's what I
major.
was gonna say. Best player without a major. Hopefully, we'll see if she rips off that band-aid. To me, like I said, the reason I picked her first was, it sets up for that superstardom moment like we see in golf every couple of years where, they contend and they win a little bit. And, obviously she won national championships at, just up the Highway 101 at Stanford. Rojean, I think she has the tools. And obviously, it was good to see her kind of struggle a little bit, at the KPMG, and then all of a sudden she shoots a low score and she gets a top 10 finish. I would not be surprised to see that same plot where, she's going to be like a 2 over, and 3 over, and then maybe she shoots like a low score, and then somehow somebody comes back, the leader comes back to them, and she just goes up. Like I said, and I would surprise if she wins either that way or the way where I mentioned all 4 rounds of the 60s, and the trophy, the tournament's over, by the time she's in the back nine on Sunday. I just feel really confident that she's going to get that win, and just the rocket is going to take off for her. I mean, that she is. I don't like saying the face of women's golf, because I feel like the LPGA tour. One thing I love about the LPGA tour is that there's so many superstars that you can easily put 5 to 10 people and they can say that's the face. Brooke Henderson, Lexi, Georgina Hall, Celine Boudier, on and on and on, Lydia Ko, and obviously Jin Young Ko. But to me, I think Rose, especially for American golf fans, who kind of watch 5 times a year, the majors, and plus Solheim Cup and the International Crown too. Um, this is the girl that's going to literally put women's golf in the stratosphere, and I think she just has that potential. Like we saw with Tiger Woods. And she's my pick. I firmly believe it as I try to fake slam on this computer.
Yeah, she's the game changer for sure. I mean, I tweeted, I think, the week that she made her debut, like, this is
Mhm.
the week that the LPGA changes forever. I had no
Yeah.
clue just how true that was, that she ended up
Yeah.
winning that. And I actually the national championships right here in Arizona, so I was able to go out
Yep.
and see her play. In college, her last tournament, just a couple weeks before she made her pro debut, and so that was really really cool to be able to see that, to be able to look back on that and say it. For my overall pick, I'm tempted to pick Nelly because her game should suit Pebble Beach. She's so good with her approach shots. That's how she won at Atlanta Athletic Club, was just nailing her approach shots. The entire final few rounds. I just can't do it. Like, it's just too.
Yeah.
She has too much variance. Like, she
Yeah.
could easily miss another cut, shoot 9 over, and not be any factor. So I just can't pick her. So I am gonna go with Jin Young Ko. But Rose feels right. Like, it feels like
Yeah.
something that should happen. I just
Yeah.
think Jin Young Ko will happen. I think she's going to be just putting it in tight. I think she's going to be hitting greens, hitting fairways. Hopefully that putter really shows up. She could win this by 6 or 7 strokes, and I would not be surprised in any way. So
Yeah.
I am going to take Jin Young Ko. I'm going to stick to it. I've been picking it for like 2 or 3 years, so I can't back out now. I am going to be taking Jin Young Ko. So there's our picks. Not super bold, but great. Regardless, and very interesting. It should be a great week. Derrick, what do you want to plug?
Want to plug? Well, first off, Max, thank you for having me on your show, man. It's always great talking golf, and just remember our days at San Jose State. We were the only two cats talking golf up there, so really appreciate you having me on. There we go. Shout out SJSU, San Jose State, and give a special shout out to the San Jose State golf programs too. I mean, the women's golf program has been top 5, top 10, consistently making the NCAA stroke play tournament. Obviously the stroke play portion of the tournament, but still, I mean, they've been consistent. And shout out to Antonio Malante, who's also from Seaside, who's played at the Augusta Women's National Amateur twice, which is unbelievable.
Played great this
But
last year.
yeah, especially Facebook, Derrick Ow, Twitter at DerrickQ42, Instagram, where I'm mostly on Instagram, is DQ42 Golf Life, Snapchat, the Dr. Golf Train 1. And also, I have my own podcast, which is Chronicles from the Upper Deck. We don't do episodes weekly. We kind of do it, every now and then when life gets a little less crazy. And Max is going to be on there. I have a guest list I still got to go through. But Max, you're officially added to the guest list. So Chronicles from the Upper Deck, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon. We're not on MySpace, so don't find us on MySpace. But we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitter and Instagram at CFTUD Pod. Again, CFTUD Pod.
All right, great. Well, thank you for joining me, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you for joining us, and please come back next time.